Hi, I'm Andrew Wallace, and welcome to the We've Got a Problem podcast, where each week we explore inspiring stories of struggle, success, and solutions to prevalent problems and how our guests have turned a problem into an opportunity. This week, I'm joined by Dr. Slava Shut. He's a doctor of physical therapy, CEO, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and financial literacy advocate who loves talking about business, growth, and personal development. Dr. Slava, welcome to the show.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic. So, I mean, you've got a lot of things going on, but give us a little bit of background. How did you get your start? How did you get into physical therapy? How did you get into entrepreneurship? Everything. Tell us what got you here. What brought you here?
So, it's funny how life takes you in different places. I grew up as a little kid in a communist country, right? In Ukraine, very popular place right now.
Yep.
So, we came here with the shirts on our back. We had nothing. So I watched my parents struggle and work, and my grandparents struggle and work, and my family members we had nothing. We came for the American dream. We have a lot of language barriers and education that you had there didn't always transfer here.
Yep.
So whatever you did there, you could have been a doctor, and now you're washing windows.
Yep.
It's that's how it works. And especially back in the day, end of 70s, beginning of 80s, that's how we got here. So I'm this little guy, under 6 foot tall, under 200 plus pounds, with hair. That's how long ago that was.
Yep.
That's how we got to this country. Now, it was a little rough. I remember being a little kid and I got bullied a lot. I got beat up a lot. It was something else, even in front of my parents sometimes. I had a bike taken in front of my dad. Some kid just cleaned my clock, took my bike, and took off. So, elementary school, junior high, even the beginning of high school was a little rough. But, I made friends. I survived. Here I am. And that kind of probably shaped some of my personality, because now I don't take stuff from anybody,
Right.
So that's good and bad, but that's how things grew. And as I went through school, I knew that was important. Back in the day, school was actually important. We learned things, and we had aspirations and dreams and hopes. And we knew that, and everybody told me at that time, I know you had your family's poor, that you got to this country, you're not going to make it. You're not going to go to college, and I had some knucklehead friends, we were always getting in trouble. And they said, you're not going to college. You're not going anywhere. You're going to be stuck right here. And I always knew, no, my parents came here. They worked hard. I have a pretty good example. No. I'm gonna make it, and I'm gonna go. Yeah. And I went through college, and I went through school, and I was in a pre-med program. I did not like the pre-med program, so I was walking down the hallway, and here's about solutions. And God takes us in different places. I look up, and there's a sign: sports medicine department. Sports medicine. I want to be a doctor. I like sports. What is this?
There you go. Right. That's the kismet. Perfect. Let's go.
It was a perfect marriage. Now, the problem is, when I was a sophomore already in my second semester, so when you went to the program director, they said, our students get in as a freshman, right? So there's no way you'll get in. Oh, there's a way.
Said, is that a challenge? I take that challenge. Yeah.
Every step of the way. So I said, okay, I'm going to have an application anyway. I applied for the program, and lo and behold, within 2 weeks, I said, God works in mysterious ways. What's meant to be is going to be. 3 people either dropped out or went to a different program. So there's a space went for me. So I got accepted into the sports medicine program because I had more than enough credentials with pre-med, right?
Right.
So that's where my career started as, athletic trainer, sports medicine. And I wasn't done with school. So when I finished my bachelor's degree, my program director in the NCAA basketball tournament knows where my master's degree was going to be. They talked, and they said, this guy's going to be, he's going to be good. You should take him to your grad assistant program. That's what he did. So I introduced during a tournament to the program director of the next school, who said, wow, I like your stuff, man. Come, we'll give you a grad assistantship. We'll get you through school. You'll have a master's degree. Sign me up, because I wasn't ready to be with school. I loved school. Right. School was fun. It was exciting. I had friends, girls, you name it. It was a blast. All right. It was before the religious days. So it was really cool, but I wasn't done yet. By the end of my master's program, I had a chance to go to an open house for the doctorate programs. And I got this letter in the mail. If you sign up to this interview process, we'll waive your entrance fee. Back in the day, $200 for a kid.
That means a lot. Yeah.
It's a lot of money. So I said, you know what? I'm going to this open house. That wasn't my first choice of the school, but guess what? Free is free. $200 is $200. So I went. I guess I had a good interview or something because they accepted me, and the rest is history. So I have a doctorate in physical therapy, and progressively I learned and learned and learned. And, even before the sports medicine program, what's funny, what got me interested in this direction was lifeguarding for many years.
Okay.
So I started as a lifeguard. Being a lifeguard, I learned a lot of things. They threw me in and said, you know what, we're going to have you teaching swim lessons. Okay. So I started teaching swim lessons. I never swam competitively, but here I am teaching kids how to swim. Fantastic. So, and then at some point they're like, you just jump into things. You know what? We have somebody who's out on maternity. You're going to teach some aqua fit classes to some geriatrics. I said, all right. Sign me up. All right. And I'm like Jane Fonda, doing all kinds of stuff. I don't even know what I was doing.
I think you're like Austin Powers in the beginning of the Austin Powers thing, doing the water ballet.
Exactly what it was. We had synchronized swimming. It was kind of like Tai Bo mixed with some aqua geriatric fitness thing. I pulled it off and I kept doing it.
Well, I mean, you've said in the past that everything in your career comes back to helping people. You love helping people.
Yeah.
So, you get into the physical therapy, you do all that stuff, and you start putting your hand in a lot of different cookie jars. I mean, you're into financial consulting, financial literacy, motivational speaking. What's your biggest way that you're helping people today? What's driving that?
I tell people this all the time. If you don't have a mission, a crusade, a mission statement, what are you doing? You're almost walking around aimlessly. I had a mission statement early that I'm going to do better than what's been done to me before. So when I was an athlete, I hurt my ankle and I went to this horrible physical therapy place when I hurt myself. And I mean, they did almost nothing to me. They gave me a picture of a few things. I looked around, I'm like, what is this? What kind of nonsense is this? So I vowed not to be that. So when I meet people and I take opportunities and I have a mission statement to help people's lives to be better after meeting me than before meeting me, right? As many people possible. I'm not even going to give it a number because if it's 1 billion, God bless. If it's 5 billion, great. If it's 1 million, fantastic. And I believe at this point, I've probably reached 5 to 6 figure people between finances, speaking, health-wise, some sort of education. I know I've touched that many people's lives already. Yep. So the lives only expand as I expand to other horizons, right? Sure. So if I have a tool that I just learned, right? So at some point I was making money, thank God, right? So I had to put it somewhere. So my eventual partners in my financial business, I was their client for many years.
Right.
So my passion of wanting to help others and starting to understand financial literacy myself, they're like, made a joke with me, you should join the team. You're so passionate about this. You're already helping people. You're already talking to your clients and sending us people. You should probably join the team. So as a joke, right? So to me, that's a funny joke because I'm like, great. Where's my checkbook?
Right.
How do I buy into this business? And so it was great. So I did get licensed and I went in that direction. So everything that's given to me, as an opportunity,
you take it. You gotta. You're right. You're grabbing onto it. That's what people are missing. Right? Is you gotta, especially if it comes up and you go, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Sign me up, like you say. Yeah, absolutely.
If there's a mission, right? So what are people actually looking for? What do people really want to know before they go in a direction, whether it's a new career? Is it credible, right? So is it legit? Is there legitimacy there? Is it something that's not going to put me in jail for, several decades, right? So people really want to know that, right? That's number one. Number two, at this point, people are like, is there a crusade? Is there a mission? Is there something bigger than me out there for me to explore?
Yeah.
So if it's credible, there's a crusade. Well, the obvious next question is, can I make a few shekels out of that?
Right.
Great, sign me up. So if I could coach people, I could help. It's a crusade. I could improve somebody's life. It's legit, right? And I can make a few bucks. Why not?
Right, right. It's a win-win-win. It's a win-win-win, right? It checks off everything. And like you say, it goes right back to your mission. Right. I'm helping people. That's what I want to do. I want to help people. So, let's talk about financial literacy specifically for a minute. What is the biggest problem as you see it when it comes to financial literacy and helping people through this? What are people struggling with?
To be a little controversial,
sure.
The government is not helping us. The government wants us dependent upon them. Every facet of our daily life, every billboard that's allowed, the banks, everything is designed to take my money and not to build it. It's for dependency on government strategies. Why would I go the institutional route of everything designed to not help me grow to the private entity, insurance companies, equity funds, start whatever it may be? There's a lot of good things out there. That's where I'm going to put my money. And I'm going to have it grow exponentially. And some of the things are tax-free, right? So should I dare say this? I'm anti-government of financially, right? So I want to put things in private places, not government-run places, because I will not, God willing, be dependent on Social Security when I get older. So if you have your money in the bank and you think Social Security is going to save you, you're in trouble. I'm telling you right now, contact somebody, me, anybody, I don't care who you contact, okay? Contact somebody because you are in deep doo-doo, okay?
Yeah, well, I think it was a quote from Benjamin Franklin maybe, but somebody said if everybody can vote, they're just going to vote themselves gifts from the treasury. And that's, I don't necessarily think that everybody shouldn't be allowed to vote or that we shouldn't have a say in this, because in fact, if we don't have a say in it, then some group is going to take something from us even more than they're trying to do. Right. You have to vote with your feet. You have to do what you can do. But that's kind of where we've gone in some respects. I can absolutely see that in the way that government has acted. And of course, it's a Rube Goldberg system, right? Because you have people disagreeing on everything as they go along. And so they put one thing in that's well-meaning, perhaps. I don't know. I don't want to impugn their motives, but they put something in that's well-meaning. It's like, look, we got a problem and we want to try and fix it in the cheapest way possible. And the best way we can do it is by whatever, food stamps, right? I don't want people starving on the street, so we put the food stamp program in place. Fine. But then you've got these exceptions and these things, and somebody goes, well, I can do that. If I can show my income is low enough, the government will give me food. And so you got the guy at Costco checking out, buying 18 steaks on his EBT card. Right. And you're going, I'm not sure that this is the spirit of why this existed.
No.
And that's, we've gone in a point, and I do want to talk about it a little bit because you are a religious person, that we have lost a sense of attachment to civic organizations in general. And one of those primary categories is religion in churches, synagogues, organized places that we go and we form our own community with. And those organizations were previously the ones that provided a lot of the charity outreach. That they go, look, I will give you the shirt off my back if you need it. If you're suffering, family that I know that's going through a hard time, the guy at church lost his job or whatever, and the kids are going to starve. That's why we're here. But when it starts to get disconnected from all these things and we no longer have the sense of community, I think something gets lost. I think and that's where then government steps in and tries to do stuff. We can talk about that for hours and hours and hours. And obviously I have opinions too. Right. So, but you come at this from a little bit of an immigrant mentality, right? That's driving you to keep hustling. You have the perspective that's given you this lens to look through. what do you think, say, I mean, native born folks, whatever, what do you think everybody else is missing? What has your perspective given you that you don't think other people are having?
So the biggest problem that I see, and I see it especially in the financial industry, at our conventions and stuff like that, I see foreigner after foreigner after foreigner making it.
Yeah.
Whereas the first American is like somewhere down the down the ladder, right? So they're there, they're brilliant, right? They're brilliant people, but the common denominator is the work ethic. And I hate to say this, and it's known around the world, so it could be a little controversial, but Americans are lazy. They are spoiled. They have everything given it to them. Even the ones that they think they're not making a lot of money, we are the richest time in the history of mankind. We're living better. The average person with a small little car, small little apartment with food, blah, blah, and grocery stores filled to the brim with stuff are the richest time ever in history. Most of the world does not live like us. Right. So when foreigners are coming in this country that are living in their car for a while, sleeping on the floor in their like dictator-run countries, they have nothing but the shirts on their back and their dirty sandals. When they come here and they taste the American dream, the American freedom, the American way of living, they're not going back there. Right. There's no bigger why. I am not sleeping on the floor. Yeah. I will not be run by a dictator. You tell me if I do this, if I roll up my sleeves and I work my butt off, I could live in that mansion with that car, with that honey on my arm, whatever, whatever drives you. Like, it's not going to happen again. I'm not going back to that place to sleep on the floor. It's not going to happen with nothing. I will do everything I can to be something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can absolutely see that. And I mean, it's around us, right? You just look around at whatever, the internet, news, I don't care what you look at, you're going to see that there's kind of this evidence of not even just laziness. And I don't want to, I don't know what's going on in other people's minds or exactly what's driving them or not driving them, or maybe they got some other stuff they got to work out.
Right.
But at the same time, it certainly, there's a preponderance of evidence saying that people aren't, at a minimum, respecting the gifts that they've been given, that they're walking into it. And as you say, you come over here, boy, does that give you perspective when you go, I'm not going back there. Whatever it takes, man, I'm going to work my ass off to make this happen, to climb that ladder and do what I got to do. Hopefully ethically.
Yeah. That goes back to the credibility,
right.
Like yes, people get in trouble sometimes, they get out of control and, the money takes them. But it's not about the money. These people are literally saying, I could support my family. I could give to my charity. I could support my religious belief. I could do so many things with this money that I'm working hard at, because in my other country, I could work hard all my life to the bone
and never get anything.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. I still have nothing. So their mentality is different. It's like, I'm going to do something. And if everybody's stepping back and I'm stepping forward, there's statistics that show that if you work hard, you will beat 50% of the population right off the bat.
Yep.
Because 50% of the population will not work hard, period, no matter what. They just won't. So if you're beating already half the population just by rolling up the sleeves, you've already won a lot.
Yes. And there's so many things in that are so true that I want to yes and take above, because I think there's this reticence to get started, to jump in like you do, right? To hop in and you go, well, it might not work. You go, yeah, but you don't know unless you do it, right? You gotta start walking before you're going to know whether you're going to be able to get there and kind of figure it out. You have to start moving and do something and get into it. And this sense that we don't, I'm kind of fixated on the lack of of respect or appreciation for the opportunity
Right.
that people have. They go, well, I mean, I always could, so why? I'm not even going to get started. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to roll up my sleeves, or even heaven forbid, thinking something's below you, right? Well, I that's, right. I'm not gonna take that job. Well, you're not doing anything. I had somebody say, who'd been out of work for quite some time. I go, well, you could do this job. I mean, there's no shortage of jobs right now, as much as people talk about this stuff. And the guy goes, well, I could make that driving a truck. And I go, then drive a truck. It's like, what the heck's wrong with that? Let's go. Like,
stopping you. What is stopping you? Then go.
So that's part of my question. What do you see as the biggest hurdle to growth for your clients? What's holding them back? What's the biggest thing? Is it stuff we've been talking about, or is there more?
There's more. I tell this to my young associates all the time, my students. Do not be your worst enemy. The only thing stopping you from being successful is you. Not the man, not the color of your skin, not religion, not your gender, nothing. You are your own driving force. You are stopping you. Because if something doesn't work out, pivot and shift.
Yeah.
The goal does not change. The plan may change. The direction, the squiggly line instead of a straight line, may change, but the goal does not change.
Right. And I think the goal is to not the big goal, but the little goal when you're doing that is to pivot and shift as quickly as possible when you know it's not working.
Right.
Rather than banging your head against the wall.
Right.
Like, all right, it's not working. Great. So what? Now you know that doesn't work. Go over here.
People are afraid of, what they call failure. The only way you fail is by not doing.
Yep.
But people's definition of failure is immediate setback. If you consider something as a setback, as evil, as bad, you're not going to succeed. If you consider it a challenge, right? And life is full of challenges. It doesn't matter if you go through it, over it, or under it, or around it. It's a challenge. It's supposed to be there. So a quick pivot shift saves you from staying, looking at it. I quit. It's tough. It's rough. I can't do it. It's so hard. Blah, blah, blah. I'm out.
Boy, that's so true. Yes, because the way that we look at things, this is a mindset hack. It's a success hack. It's all those things. But the way we frame things in our head of good or bad, right? Good or bad. And maybe if we took that away and you go, you know what? There's no such thing as bad. There's just it's good that I did this. It's not the good I was looking for, but it's good that I learned that. I'm glad I did, because now I know that's the wrong way for now. Maybe I'm early. Maybe I just don't know enough. Maybe there's more I need to do. So instead of banging up against that thing, like that door's closed, let me walk over here. Let's go a little bit further around. Maybe we come around. We're going to figure it out. But this is good. And if you look at things as bad, at everything as a failure, and just like it's finite and finished and done, and that's it, and I'm never going to have it happen.
Right.
You're just going to be depressed at a minimum. You're probably going to quit. Right. You're going to stop. And like you said, that's when you fail, because you stop trying.
And spiritually, in Judaism, we believe that there's not really bad, okay? There's good that's obvious, and there's good that's not obvious. And that's what people call bad. Because have you ever been in a situation where you're like, it's doom and gloom, OMG, and then later you're like, wow, that's the best thing that ever happened to me, right? So, and something, for sure, I'm going to win the lottery. These are the winning tickets. Okay? So it wasn't so sure thing, right? So, there is no bad. Okay, it's something we just don't understand. It's something from a higher power that we can't intellectually grasp. Doesn't mean it's bad. I just can't see what I'm supposed to see right now. But eventually, I will.
Right.
So eventually it turns out that it was good.
Right. Well, and that's in a way the essence of faith, right?
Yeah.
Is I have to trust that it's going to be good, that I don't know, I can't see it, but it ultimately is. And it will be. I just can't see it right now.
Right.
And I struggle with that. I think a lot of people struggle with that. And that's probably the essence of all religious thought, is the unseen and what you can trust and what you believe in. And hey, when you become somebody who's done a lot of things themselves, and you kind of develop this thing like, I want what I can control, and I know that I can do this, and backing away and accepting that that's a tough one. That's one I think, again, we all probably struggle with to some degree. And if you don't, God bless you.
Or they're lying.
Yeah, or they're lying. Yeah, probably a little bit of both. So we're coming a little bit to the end here. We've had such a fantastic conversation, and I'd love to keep going, but I've got a couple of questions I got to ask. Yes. So what is the biggest fallacy? And we've talked about a lot of these kind of things. So if you want to highlight one of these things, that's just fine. But what's the biggest fallacy you feel like everybody buys into, but that's just total BS?
Health-wise is that you have to have this diet, or you have to do this workout. If you have a balance in your life, health-wise, right? You eat right, whatever's right for you with your nutritionists, your trainers, your doctors, okay? Your exercise, again, with the same type of professionals, you will improve your body, energy, mood, all that kind of stuff. When it comes to finances, having a mentor, having somebody you trust that is already doing it, who has experience doing it. So if it's the health-wise, get a good trainer, reputable, that has a name, work with that person. Financially, same thing. Spiritually, do not go to some charlatan that's trying to take your money, right? Okay, some cult, this, that, right? So every avenue of life has good, experienced people. And one of the biggest fallacies that people tell me all the time, and I read my comments and all that stuff, is how can you be an entrepreneur and be a good person? It's very possible. One of the biggest fallacies is you're a businessman or woman, entrepreneur, you got to be a scumbag. Somewhere you're cheating, right? No, that's not necessarily true. You could have ethics and morals and be a good financial person, right? You could have businesses that help people. You could have this, you could have that, you could sell things. You don't have to be a bad person. You could be spiritually motivated. You could have whatever you believe in. You believe in God, believe in the universe, and you can be a good person and be a good business person, an entrepreneur, make a lot of money, and make a difference in people's lives.
Yep. So on the other side of that, what would you say the most underrated concept is? And we can go broad, specific, whatever you want to say. What do you think the most underrated concept is that people overlook? What's everybody missing?
Okay. So this day and age behind a computer, I would say clearly to me, and I teach this all the time, is identity.
Mm-hmm.
Having an identity. Now, what I mean about that, there's people who are behind the camera and you see them on social media and they have certain things that they portray. Their life could be completely different what they portray. That's not a true identity. Identity is not what you show to others when there's a act involved.
The camera's on, yeah.
Who are you? Truly, who are you when you step out of the shower and there's no barrier between you and that mirror? Who is that person in the mirror? Who are you really in that mirror? Because that identity tells you what your thermostat is, what your vibration is, what your frequency is. Okay, what decisions are you going to make? Because decisions drive directions. So your identity is, who are you really? What do you believe in? Which then you create a mission statement. Are you really that person? Are you really that mission statement? If you are, you will be going that direction. Yeah. If you're not that person, you will not be going that direction. It's very simple, because there's ways that will, trip you up, because then again, they don't become challenges. They become major obstacles.
Yep.
They're not challenges anymore, because that's not who you are. But when you are who you say you are, then challenges are only challenges, and you will be headed in the right direction.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And hey, I mean, that's having a guiding light, a North Star, whatever you want to call it, that you look to when you go, is this something I should be doing? Is this who I am? Does this come into my why? And I think that's part of Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, and all those things. And again, we can talk about that forever. But having that touchstone to refer to go, this is who I am. This relates to my essence. This is what's important to me. This is what I believe in, what I hold dear, true, all those things. This is it. This is where we're going. Dr. Slava, thank you so much for joining me. Folks, if you want to know more about Dr. Slava Shut, check out his website, podcasts, and socials. And if you're interested in booking a financial coaching session, you can go straight to booking an introductory call. The links to everything are in the show notes as always. And until next time, I'm Andrew Wallace, and we don't have a problem. We've got an opportunity.